The sun had just dipped behind the buildings when Lila realized something wasn't right, and she was furious when she had come home from her evening class, her notes still scattered in her satchel, her heart weary from another long day balancing work, school and motherhood, only to find the note her mother left her. Her mother, who had been watching him, came home later that evening. Lila's lips pressed thin and her eyes dark with a storm she was holding back. "Where's Noah?" Lila's voice came out sharp, trembling. Her mother took a deep breath. "Micah's family came by earlier. They said they were taking him for the evening. I tried to argue, but you know how his mother is. She wouldn't leave without him." For a moment, Lila couldn't breathe. Her chest tightened as if someone had pressed a heavy stone against her ribs. The familiar anxiety rose, clawing, suffocating, relentless. She dropped her bag to the floor and held onto the edge of the couch. "They didn't even ask me," she whispered, fury curling around the edges of her fear. "They don't think they need your permission." And just like that, the silence between them turned thick, heavy, suffocating. All night, Lila tossed and turned. She kept checking her phone, hoping Micah, or even his mother, would send a message to assure her Noah was safe. But her phone remained silent. The only sound in the apartment was the steady tick of the wall clock and her mother's restless footsteps in the hallway. By 2 a.m., Lila was staring at the ceiling, replaying the day over and over in her head. How much longer could she live like this, every choice questioned, every moment overshadowed by Micah's family's interference? She wanted to storm into their house and demand Noah back. She wanted to scream, to tell them they had no right. But another part of her hesitated. What if they twisted her anger against her? What if they claimed she was unstable, unfit, incapable of raising her son? The thought chilled her blood. She remembered the court hearing, how close she'd come to losing Noah altogether. The memory of sitting in that courtroom, alone without a lawyer, trembling under the weight of Micah's parents' accusations, never left her. The judge had seen through their intentions then, but what if next time she wasn't so fortunate? That night, lying awake in the darkness, Lila's tears wet her pillow. She felt cornered, trapped in a war she hadn't chosen but couldn't avoid. By the time she picked Noah up the next day, her body was weary, but her resolve hardened. When she walked into Micah's mother's house, the atmosphere felt charged, almost theatrical. Noah came bounding toward her, his little arms wrapping tightly around her legs. Relief swept over her, but when she looked up, she met the icy stare of Micah's mother. "You shouldn't have left him so long with your mother," she said curtly. "Noah belongs with us. We are family. He needs stability. My mother is family, and Noah belongs with me." The room fell silent. Even Micah, sitting off to the side with his arms crossed, didn't speak. The tension was like a taut rope ready to snap. Lila wanted to scream, but she forced herself to stay calm. She gathered Noah's belongings, kissed his forehead, and walked out without another word. But her silence wasn't weakness, it was strategy. 2 weeks later, her mother prepared to return to her homeland. Her time helping with Noah had been invaluable. Meals cooked, laundry folded, Noah tucked in at night when Lila was too exhausted to move. But now, with her suitcase packed and the ticket in hand, reality hit hard. "Are you sure you'll be all right?" her mother asked, her voice full of worry. "I'll manage, I have to. Remember, strength doesn't mean fighting every battle. Sometimes it means knowing which ones to walk away from. Trust God to guide you." Lila swallowed hard. After her mother left, the apartment felt impossibly empty. The walls echoed with the absence, the silence loud enough to make her ears ring. Noah clung to her constantly, sensing the change, and she realized now more than ever she was truly alone. It was during one of those lonely nights when Noah had finally fallen asleep that the thought came to her. What if I took Noah home with me? Just for a month, back to my homeland, away from the drama, the fighting, the constant tug of war. She could already imagine it. Noah playing with his cousins, her relatives showering him with love, the familiar comfort of home. It would give her time to breathe, to think, to gather strength. But then the fear crept in. Would Micah's family ever allow it? Or would they accuse her of trying to take Noah away permanently? The thought of another courtroom battle made her stomach twist. Still, the idea refused to leave her mind. It became a quiet ember glowing in the background of her thoughts, whispering hope amidst the chaos. The weeks after her mother's departure were, honestly, just brutal. Micah's mum began appearing more frequently, sometimes showing up completely unannounced. There was this one time when Lila returned from work to find her just sitting on the couch. Noah perched on her lap and the sitter looked at me in dismay. Lila asked, her voice shaking with all that suppressed rage. "How did you know Noah would be home today?" Micah's mother replied. "I was in the area and the sitter let me in. He needs to know his grandmother cares for him." Every visit seemed well calculated, a way to assert dominance, to remind Lila that she wasn't the only authority in Noah's life. Pretty soon their interactions turned into shouting matches. Lila's words were sharp and Micah's mother's honestly venomous. And Noah, caught right in the middle, just grew more restless and confused. One evening, after Micah's mother left in a huff, Noah tugged at Lila's hand and asked, "Mommy, why does Grandma say I should live with her? Don't you want me?" The breaking point came on a Sunday evening. Noah had spent the weekend with Micah's family, and when Lila arrived to pick him up, she just sensed immediately that something was wrong. The house was unusually quiet, and Noah was nowhere in sight. She asked Micah's mum, who appeared from the kitchen, her voice trembling. "Where is he?" Micah's mother answered, "He's fine." "But Lila, this back and forth is too much for him. He needs to stay here permanently." Lila's pulse raced. She said, "That's not your decision to make." And then Micah, kind of hesitating, added, "Maybe she's right. Maybe Noah should stay here more often." The words hit Lila like a physical blow. She just couldn't breathe, couldn't think. She turned and stormed out, her hands shaking so badly she could barely grip the steering wheel. That night she sat awake in bed, tears streaking her cheeks, and prayed desperately for strength. Lila knew she just couldn't go on like this. Her mother's words echoed in her mind. Strength doesn't mean fighting every battle, but wasn't this one worth fighting? She thought again about taking Noah home for a month, away from the conflict, away from the manipulation. Maybe there, surrounded by her own family and faith, she could find some kind of clarity. But she hadn't yet told Micah or his family. The thought of their reaction absolutely terrified her. Would they accuse her of kidnapping? Would they drag her back into court? Still, deep inside, a decision was forming, quiet, resolute. For now, she held her tongue, keeping her plan tucked close to her chest. But her heart pounded with both dread and anticipation, because she knew, when she finally revealed her intentions, everything would explode. And so, as the days passed, Lila carried her secret quietly, even as Micah's family loomed closer, and the pressure just kept mounting. Every interaction with them was a battle of wills, every moment with Noah a reminder of what she stood to lose. But one question burned brighter than all the rest. When she finally told them about her plan, would it be her moment of freedom or the spark that set the entire fragile world she had built ablaze? To be continued.